Driver, your doors are closed.
Excellent. See you in a bit. Well, Jambo, everybody, welcome aboard Kilimanjaro Safaris. My name is Crispy. I'm going to be your game driver and animal spotter on your photo safari through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Please continue to wear your face coverings at all times during our safari, and please make sure that you're wearing them correctly. They do need to cover both your nose and your mouth. I do need to ask that everyone remains seated at all times during our safari. Small children are more than welcome to sit in your lap. They can usually see better from up there. Just make sure everybody stays on their bottoms at all times. Absolutely no standing allowed during our safari. If you're taking photo or videos and you can change the setting on your camera, you might want to put your camera on an action or sports setting. The roads of the reserve do tend to get a little bumpy. That action or sports setting should help keep your photos from coming out blurry. And please hold on tight to cameras, cell phones, hats, sunglasses, cups, bottles, any loose items you might have in hand. I cannot stop for anything that falls out of the vehicle. Now, if you're curious about the types of animals we'll be seeing, if you look straight up above your heads on the ceiling of my canopy, I've got some animal spotting guides up there. Those will help you identify animals we could see in the reserve. I will do my best to point them out to you as we go along, tell you some really cool things about them as well. We're going to enter the reserve at Little Ituri Forest. The animals in this area can sometimes be a little bit harder to see because they blend into their forest home. Looks like I have a couple of different species of antelope coming up on our left. I've also got a large dark brown animal with white stripes on his legs over to the right. That animal to the right is called an okapi. A lot of people think they're related to zebras because they have similar stripes on their legs, but they're actually the forest cousin of the giraffe. While to the left, the tan antelope are called greater kudu. Greater kudu are Africa's second tallest antelope. Now those are the girl kudus. The boys get bigger and grow spiral-shaped horns. While the reddish-brown colored antelope with white stripes are called bongo. Bongo have been nicknamed the ghost of the forest. They're known for being shy and rarely seen, but this herd is very much used to our vehicles. Sometimes when I drive through this part of the reserve, I get to see black rhinoceros, and I do see one coming up ahead on our left. Now I know they look indestructible, but they've been hit really hard by poaching. There are less than 5,000 black rhinos left in all the world today. We actually have two. We have one here, straight back by the red rock wall, and then I've got another one coming up that's a little bit closer. Fully grown black rhinos like these two can weigh as much as 3,000 pounds. They're also capable of running at up to 30 miles an hour. Conservationists are working together with local people to monitor black rhino populations, assist in the emergency vet care, and rehabilitation of black rhinos as needed. That way, if they survive an encounter with a poacher, there's a greater chance they'll make a full recovery. We're going to make our way over to the Sophie River next. There we'll be on the lookout for hippos and crocodiles. Hippos can be a bit tricky to see during the daytime, and that's because they spend much of that time in the water sleeping. This does make hippos nocturnal. They tend to be their most active during the night. That's when they usually come out of the water to graze on plants along the shoreline. Now you might catch sight of a couple of hippos in the water down below to the right, but I think more of the herd is up ahead on our left. Hippos to the left. Decent swimmers, hippos can hold their breath for up to 8 minutes at a time. Most of the time when you see them moving in the water, though, they're just walking on the bottom of the river. Also to the left, you'll see pink-backed pelicans. The girl pelicans choose their boyfriend based on who brings them the nicest looking stick. That stick will then go on to become the foundation of their nest. So instead of a ring, she gets a house. Nice view of the hippos there. Out of the water, hippos are pretty mobile as well. They can run at about 20 miles an hour and turn on a dime. We're about to cross over a really old bridge, and this is the part of the river where we usually see Nile crocodile. You're going to see the crocodile coming up on our left. Just make sure everyone stays seated for me, please. Do you need a pen? I got an extra one. A Nile crocodile can grow up to 20 feet in length, weigh almost 1,000 pounds, and get the Nile part of their name because they were discovered in the Nile River, but you will find them in just about any body of water in Africa. They've even been known to go swimming in the ocean. We are now heading to the Savannah grassland system of the reserve. This is where we should see the greatest concentration of animals. On our way there, I want to show you my favorite kind of tree that you'll see here in Africa, known as the baobab, or the upside down tree. I've got a really nice looking one coming up on the right, and you'll see more of these trees scattered throughout the savannah. Baobab trees do remain leafless for about 9 months out of the year, and during the rainy season, not only do they grow leaves, but they also produce a citrus-tasting fruit that the locals will use to make something similar to lemonade. Looks like the wildebeest are running around like crazy out here this morning.
Yeah.
It's a little cooler this morning than it's been in a while, and that's probably what's got them all riled up. That's good though, because that means we'll get a nice view of them. You might even get some action shots. Some of the other antelope are looking at him like, why are you running? Besides the wildebeest, I'm also seeing sable antelope and eland antelope, as well as some springbok. Many of the animals that live on the savannah will live here year-round. You have a few species, though, that will migrate through during certain times of the year. This is all a part of the wild Africa we've been working so hard to protect. I also see some giraffe up ahead, as well as my favorite animals on the reserve. They're cattle called Ankoli, known for their really big horns. Over to the left, you're going to see brown, black, and white calico-looking dogs laying in the grass called painted dogs, also known as the African wild dog and the African hunting dog. One of the most successful hunters on the planet, teamwork is the key to their success. In the dog family, painted dogs are most closely related to foxes. They even have a bushy tail like a fox does. I've got some giraffe coming up on our left. These are Maasai giraffe. They're one of 9 different types of giraffe found throughout Africa. The Maasai are known for their reddish-brown coloration and lacy look to their patch pattern. You'll also see Ankoli cattle over to our left. The brown and white ones are the cows. If you see a solid brown one, that's going to be the bull. The horns for the cattle do for them what a radiator does for a car. Those horns help to cool their blood down on hot days so that they don't overheat. And then we have the giraffe over here to the left as well. Known to be the tallest land animals, giraffe can be up to 20 feet tall, and they have the same number of bones in their neck that you and I have in our necks. Theirs are just a whole lot bigger. That's 7 cervical vertebrae, by the way. Got another giraffe over to our right and another one coming up on the left. The strange looking cones of earth popping up everywhere are termite mounds, but not the kind of termites that eat your house. African termites spend most of their lifetime inside those mounds. Now, the mounds are made out of dirt and termite saliva. Baked in the hot African sun, they become as hard as concrete. There's that nice looking giraffe over to our left there. The name giraffe is actually Arabic in origin. Loosely translated to English, giraffe means one who walks with grace. Let's see, coming up on our right, I've got some beautiful dark brown and white antelope in the tall grasses coming up on our right. These are sable antelope, named for their beautiful sable brown color. Now these are the girl sable antelope. The boys get bigger. The boys also get darker and darker as they age. Behind them, the small tan, black, and white gazelles are springbok. I'll tell you more about them in just a moment. On the hillside to our left, I've got some tan antelope called eland. They're the largest antelope in Africa. The lighter colored ones are the females. The one that's got a bit more gray color to him is the male. He can stand 6 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh about 2,000 pounds. And here come the springbok on the right. That's fully grown. They typically only weigh about 70 to 100 pounds. They get the spring part of their name because they can leap 10 feet in the air to get away from a predator. They can also run at 50 miles an hour. Then we have some Hartman's mountain zebras, including a baby zebra. It's a little boy. He's about 8 months old now. Won't be fully grown till he's closer to 2 years old. Hartman's mountain zebras are one of 3 different kinds of zebras found in Africa, and as their name implies, they prefer the hillier parts of the reserve. The large gray animals are the wildebeest. Wildebeest are part of one of the largest animal migrations left on Earth. When wildebeest migrate across the Serengeti, their herds will number in the tens of thousands. We're going to start making our way over to elephant country. I do know of a couple of watering holes the elephants like to hang out near. We're going to take a drive by both of them, see if we can find just some elephants this morning. Got an elephant coming up on our right. This is an adolescent male. He's part of a herd of elephants I've been tracking in the area. He's right around 8 years old. He'd be the equivalent to our kids in middle school. Likes to wander off on his own, have little adventures by himself, but he always makes his way back to the herd. He's not quite old enough to be on his own just yet. Now I am hoping if he's here that the rest of his group's at the other watering hole. We're going to go check it out here in just a moment. Over to our left near the big bush by the rock wall, you might catch sight of some brown monkeys moving around over there. Those are called mandrills. Mandrills are Africa's largest monkey. The males can weigh about 100 pounds. Mandrills are omnivores. That means they'll eat anything. Plants, bugs, small animals if they can catch them. Researchers are studying elephants and how they communicate with one another in an effort to better understand exactly what elephants need to survive. It turns out a lot of what elephants say to one another we cannot hear. It's infrasonic, or below the human level of hearing. Now those infrasonic sounds can travel pretty far, and one elephant can be talking to another elephant up to 5 miles away. The really cool part is not only do elephants listen for those sounds with their ears, but they can also pick up the vibration of the sound through the ground with their feet. So elephants listen with their ears and their feet. Some more of the herd over here to our left. This is an adolescent female. She's about 14 years old. She'd be the equivalent to our kids in high school. Then there's another one a little further over. That's actually one of the adult females. So you can see that 14-year-old's getting close to adulthood, but she's still got some growing to do. Got a young adult female elephant coming up ahead on the move on our left. She is about 16 years old. So she'd be more like a college kid. She's considered an adult, but she's still got a lot of stuff she needs to learn. She's often charged with babysitting anybody in the herd that's younger than her. It's good practice for her before she has any babies of her own. That doesn't usually happen until they're in their late teens, early 20s. So that's the 16-year-old, and then the one out here in the open is another adolescent female. She's about 9 years old, also kind of like a middle school kid like that young male we saw earlier. Elephants are considered babies till they hit about 5 years of age. That's when they usually stop nursing from mom. Then they become adolescents or juveniles till they're mid to late teens, when most elephants reach adulthood. They can live into their 70s, although 55 to 65 is a bit more common for an elephant. Coming up on our left, you're going to see greater flamingo. Greater flamingo are the largest but lightest pink of all flamingo species. If you look carefully on the island, you'll see some baby flamingos. They're kind of a grayish-brown color white right now. They range in age from about a month old to just over 2 months old. By the time they're about 6 months old, they'll be as big as mom and dad, but they'll be mostly white in color. It takes a flamingo till they're almost 2 years old to develop their full pink coloration. Far right, you'll see a white rhinoceros walking around down there in the bushes. We should get a better view up ahead. I'm actually heading that way. I just can't take that shortcut. I'll get stuck. tricky to see, but to our left, just over these short green bushes laying back on the hillside there, there's a cheetah. She's got her back to us, but she's in between the two trees just past the short green bushes. Fastest land animals, cheetahs can run at speeds of over 60 miles an hour, but only for short distances. They're the only big cats that do not have retractable claws. When you look at a cheetah paw, it's a lot like looking at a dog's paw, and that aids in traction when they're running at high speed. Coming up on our left, we're going to have a big rocky outcropping called a kopie. I don't know if you can hear that noise, but that sounds like a lion roaring, so we're going to see what's going on. This is where I usually see them hang out, is at this rocky outcropping called a kopie. I think they might be on the other side of the tall rocks. We'll swing around and get you a better view. Keep an eye out for a big male and a couple of females. Oh, there's the girls. Now this is pretty much what lions do for about 18 to 20 hours out of the day. They're going to do most of their hunting at night. It's cooler, easier to sneak up on your food in the dark. Oop, there's the male, down by the big rocks. He's coming this way. He's probably going to come see what the girls are doing. White rhinos to the right, but don't worry, I'm going to get you closer to them up ahead. See if we can get you a nice view of this male lion. All right, big guy, where'd you go? There he is. Now, it is true that the girls will do most of the hunting for the pride, but the male's main job is that of protector. Not a lot of animals will mess around with a fully grown male lion. He can weigh over 500 pounds. The girls are about half that size. Wants to lay on that rock she's laying on, but she's got the prime spot for it. Got some warthogs coming up on our left. Warthogs are Africa's largest burrowing mammals. They use their nose and tusks to root up the dirt, dig nice big burrows that they'll use to sleep in. Like most members of the pig family, warthogs are really smart animals. The bigger of the three is a male, the other two are females. Ooh, she's not letting him in that burrow. Now we got those white rhinoceros coming up on our right. Much bigger than a black rhino. White rhinos can weigh over 5,000 pounds. Now black rhinos are known for being solitary. White rhinos are a bit more social. They live in herds called crashes. I love a good crash of rhinos. This is the male here next to us. There were a couple of females going back into the bushes over there to the far right. Probably going to go take a nap. I don't blame them. I've also got some ostrich eggs on the ground to the right. Largest egg made by a bird takes about 18 to 24 chicken eggs to be the same size as one ostrich egg. Now ostriches will leave their eggs alone for short periods of time. The eggs themselves are very difficult to get into. The shell can be up to a 1/4 inch thick. There is a very simple thing you can do at home, no matter where you live in the world, that will help animals in Africa. If you buy a new cell phone, tablet, or laptop, make sure you recycle your old one. There's a mineral that they mine in Africa. It's called coltan, and it's used in the manufacturing of electronic devices. Now, the more of those devices we can recycle, that much less coltan will need to be mined in Africa, and then lands like those could potentially be set aside for the animals. This does end our safari. I hope you got to see some of the animals that you really wanted to see. If not, I do invite you to come back and join us again sometime. Different animals do tend to be active at different times of the day, and no two safaris are ever the same. I'm going to drop you off at the nearest warden's post. From there, it's just a short walk back to the village of Harambe. I'll also be dropping you off near the entrance to the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. Take a stroll through the forest and you could see western lowland gorillas, hippos from under the water, meerkats, a different kind of zebra called a grebe zebra, and make sure you check out one of my favorite animals down on the trail, the naked mole rats. Oh yeah, you haven't lived till you've seen a naked mole rat. You gotta go check them out. They're actually really cool little animals. Now here in Africa, we don't like to say goodbye. Instead, we say kwaherini, which means go well. So kwaherini, everyone. Make sure you look around, gather up all your personal belongings. Once again, my name was Crispy. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.